Hi, it's time for one more of these. This time we're drawing Mario. So that remake of Super Mario RPG, I'm gonna be honest, I was not looking forward to the idea of that game being remade. I felt that there's no way they would make it, like, you know, have the same sort of vibe as the original game. But when I saw it in motion, and I was looking at it, like, from the Nintendo Direct, looks pretty nice. I'm looking forward to that. We'll see how it is in November. I'm gonna have fun with it. So Super Mario RPG is like one of those... It's a game that's very important to me. It meant a lot to me as a kid. I was like 8. And so I wanted to draw something for it. I wanted to draw, like, you know, all your party members in the game and give them that sort of squished style that the remake looks like. It's a very fun look, very diorama-like. It reminds me of the remake of Link's Awakening, and I don't know, maybe that's what got them the idea. I don't know yet. So we're going to be drawing all of the characters. It took several days, which this video is a bit longish compared to other speed paints. So I'm going to be drawing each character on a different layer and then adjusting their positions and stuff because that's more convenient. So starting with Mario, one thing I knew about Mario is I wanted him to be just front and center and just, like, you know, on the top of the screen, but also in the middle. So I made sure that his the area right between his eyes was just the middle of the canvas and things like that. And you know, I haven't actually drawn Mario with reference in a very long time because that character is just ingrained in my memory. So I started noticing a few things when I was looking at references, just artwork, the screenshots from this remake, right? Like, there's a few details that only apply to 3D artwork of Mario characters. Like, if you noticed, I adjusted the shape of the strap on his overalls. It was round before, and now it's got a triangular end. That's the thing that only applies to, like, 3D Marios, and it started with Super Mario Sunshine. I looked it up because I was, like, freaking out about it. And here I changed the pose of Mario's hand because I was like, it needs to be more dynamic. It needs to have more oomph. And his foot too. I'm gonna be drawing his foot a lot, and then I decided to just put it at a different angle. And I'm pretty happy with the result. Yeah, there it is. He's jumping, he's Super Mario. Adjusting this arm just a little bit more. You know, sculpting out the drawing. And are we done? We're done? A little, not yet. Look at this perfectionist girl over here. I couldn't decide if I wanted the dots, the things on the glove to be black or white. I went with black after all. And then Gino and Malloy drew on a stream. There's a VOD of the stream on this channel. And it's funny because for Gino, I kind of just ignored the sketch that I did. Because I was like, I don't like this pose anymore. I'm gonna do something completely different. Gino, of course, he's a wooden boy. He's made of wood, so I added a lot of those wooden textures that I like, the little scribbly lines to add texture. So I decided to give him basically like this Samus pose. He's just going to be holding up his arm, his gun arm, with a hand on top of the other arm. And so, here we go. Here's Gino. You know, a lot of... I hope that Gino is gonna be cool again, thanks to the remake, because I feel like in recent years, Gino just became a running joke. Because of... Oh yeah, I show off some images on the stream. I feel like Gino just became a bit of a running joke there. Because he just became that one guy that boomers want in Smash. And you know, a bunch of kids that never play Super RPG are like, I don't get it. Why do you want this character? What's the deal? What is just some Pinocchio guy? And I mean, I just like the game. I like the character. That's all. I just think he's neat, like Marge Simpson would say. I just think he's neat. Oh god, doing my Marge voice here. Yeah, I'm gonna be moving him a lot because I realize I'm running out of room here. And one thing about Gino is that, like, he doesn't have enough joints. He has visible joints, but he has fewer than you would expect. At least, like, in his 3D model in the new game does. So he doesn't actually have a lot of range of movement, which I struggled a little bit with that. And the gun here, I was looking at his fucking... the Mii costume. The Gino Mii outfit for it. As a reference for that design. And of course I forgot about his little... I guess it's his hair. So I had it right at the end. And then I was like, I'll draw Mallow because Mallow's simple enough. And I cut off the stream. And yeah, about Mallow's hands. I was looking at the screenshots from the remake and I was like, why does Mallow have individual fingers? That looks weird as hell. But like, if you look even at his old artwork, he was always supposed to have individual fingers, but his in-game sprite doesn't have that, and I don't know, I like it better when it's the kind of mitten hands. So I did a compromise and did the sort of mitten hand where the index finger is separate from the other ones, instead of being all one thing. So I think that looks better. I know better than the designers at Square Enix, of course, obviously. I still didn't like Gino's gun over there. I'm gonna touch it up a little bit. And that's how I did on the stream. Then the next day I just drew Peach. And yeah, Peach is one of those characters that, at least like when I was a kid, I used to struggle to draw Peach. And I feel like if I showed this drawing to like my 8-year-old self, she would freak out. She would be like so happy that I, as an adult, can just draw these characters now. Especially Peach. He was like the hardest character for me to draw back then. Here she looks funny because she's so compressed, but I mean, I can draw a pretty decent Peach, I think. Mario's style is just kind of ingrained in my mind. I'm going to adjust this eyes a lot because I feel like at first that the angle was kind of wrong. So you're definitely going to see me drag it around a little bit later probably. Yeah, sometimes one thing that I do is I will draw something on a layer on top of something if things are overlapping, something that I already drew. Just in case. You know, and then I usually, you know, erase the parts that are behind things and then merge the two layers. So I tend to use a different color just so I can tell what's what. And then, you know, just change it back to be the same color. It's funny how this design of Peach has really big earrings. I mean, that's how it is in the game, so I just made it like that. And I was not happy with the length of the legs, but I had to remind myself, yeah, here I drew the body. That's another thing I do sometimes when I feel like I need to redraw the structure of the body to tell what is going on and where I should place things. And in the case of Peach here, it's like the fact that this is supposed to be like a chibi design, it felt weird, like her legs are not long enough. It's like that's just how the style is. And here goes I'm thickening some of the lines because I felt that I ended up making them too thin compared to the other characters. And then we move on to Bowser, and I probably spent a lot of time on Bowser. I couldn't decide exactly how I wanted to draw his nose because like in 3D, the front of his nose is really delineated, but in 2D it's not. And so I went with how it looks in 2D in the end because I feel like the 3D ones were not looking very good here. So yeah, here's Bowser. I always have to remind myself that there are angles where you don't see both of the character's eyes. Like here you can see very little of his right eye. And it's like that's normal. And I sometimes when I'm drawing I have to remind myself that that's a thing I can do. I was just looking at his at a screenshot in the game, it's like that's how he looks though. So I just did that. So I decided to also change Bowser's pose and make Bowser the one crossing his arms instead of Gino, which I guess is funny because in in the actual game, it's Gino who crosses his arms, and I guess Bowser has a similar pose to the one I gave Gino, at least in the Japanese version of the game. Well, maybe they're you know, doing each other's pose. They became friends or something. Bowser would never admit to that though. So yeah, I do spend some time tweaking these parts here because I feel like at some point I decided like I just need to finish this drawing. I can't be tweaking Bowser's anatomy forever, and it's mostly gonna be covered by the other characters anyway. I mean, I do have these individual characters in layers, so maybe I could post them on their own at some point. Comment below if you'd like me to see that. Haha, I'm gonna get some engagement on my video. Just in the face again. And here the angle of this leg gave me a bit of trouble. See, I drew it a bunch of times. Adding spikes to the shell. Oh dang, yeah. Couldn't decide what size I wanted the shell to be. It's funny because this Bowser ended up very round. I feel like he kind of looks like an armadillo. So I wanted to do a background, right? I wanted to have the 7 stars, so I kind of drew one half of a star, flipped it, added colors, and there we go, that's a background. So now let's just add flat colors to every character, do it individually, you know, hiding the layers so I can see who's who. One thing I like to do sometimes is I like to connect blocks of color of the same color, right? Because usually they'll be separated by the outline on the color layer. I like to put them on the same thing because if I need to recolor, then I can recolor it all at once. I thought there's other ways you can do that in like CSP and stuff, but I kind of just got used to doing this. Anyway, shading. I guess I wanted to have a bit of a blue shade on this drawing. Like you can see that the color or the shading of Mario, the darker red has a bit of a purple tint to it. So it's a bit of like blue lining. And I think I tweaked the colors on Mellow a bunch because I wanted him to look like light yellow going to white a little bit. Yeah, so Gino's shoes give me a bit of trouble because like the soles of his shoes are not a different color, unlike like most characters, but I ended up doing that anyway here in this drawing because it looked weird otherwise. And you know, I like to, in the shading, when I want to add texture for certain things like wood here, I would just add lines there. I also do it on the scales for Bowser. You know, shading is a way you can add volume to a drawing and you can add texture to a drawing, so it's cool when you just take advantage of that. Like the hair too, and just, you know, use the shading to imply more texture. Things like that, you know, will make your drawing seem less flat. You know, having a sense of volume is important in art. I feel it's one of the things I strive for, and I feel like I struggled with that a long time. But I'm getting the hang of it, I think. I think I might be an okay artist right now at this point. What do you guys think? Maybe just a little bit. So I usually just use 2 tones of shading, but I felt like in some parts adding a 3rd tone helped a lot. You can see here in Peach's dress. And you know, I just play it by ear most of the time. I don't really have like hard and fast rules for what I want to do with my art. Oh, it's what works in the moment. And I wanted, you know, the stars in the background to reflect on the characters, so I made this other layer with this sort of glowy effect. I feel like on Bowser it doesn't quite work as well as the other characters, but here it is. Looks cool anyway. I made the background blue, I wasn't feeling the white. And here's Mario and friends. Yo, this video is long. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. Comment and stuff if you want. Or don't. I'm not your dad. And yeah, see you guys next time. Stay sexy.